Yeah, thanks for the question. I get asked that a lot, a lot at masterminds or real estate meetups or conferences. Clients say, "Well, how either what if what I'm doing is the sale of a security, or how do I theoretically do deals that don't touch on securities?" And I always try to explain it the same way, right? It doesn't help you necessarily to understand that this definition of what a security is came out of a famous case back in 1946 called the SEC. That's the Securities and Exchange Commission. That's the regulatory body in the United States that governs and has jurisdiction over 27,000 registered broker dealers, registered investment advisors, exchanges, third parties, people that are buying and selling what the SEC calls securities. Well, in that particular case, the SEC actually defined what a security is, and what they basically said is it's an investment in a common enterprise with a reasonable expectation of profit derived solely from the entrepreneurial efforts of others. Now, somebody's like, well, that sounds like 1946 speak, right? It's not like common English. So, what does that really mean? So, I usually say, hey, here's the rule of thumb. The rule of thumb on whether it's the sale of the securities is if the seller's purpose is raising capital. So that's somebody that's the seller in this is somebody asking somebody for money. If that person asking somebody for money, their purpose behind that ask is raising capital, and the buyer's purpose, that's the investor, that's the person listening to the person that's asking for money. If their purpose is receiving profit, then it is likely a security. And as such, it touches on this vast body of law called securities laws. And that's why that's why it's almost indispensable for you to have a team around you when you're in the business of acquiring assets. Doesn't really matter what the asset is, and you're in order to acquire ownership in that asset, you're really raising passive investments from individuals or third parties and engaging in what the SEC calls the sale of a security. So it's a very long-winded, lawyerly-like answer to the question of like, how do we actually define and figure out whether what I'm doing is the sale of a security or